If you only visited this garden in late spring or late summer, you might think it is always full and overflowing. Today, in late fall, it looks quieter at first glance, but if you look closer, the garden is still very busy, just in a different language. Leaves are falling, fruits are finishing, flowers are starting again, and winter vegetables are quietly taking over. Let's take another walk and see how everyone is doing at this time of year. You are with the garden, and this is our late fall walkthrough. Back in late spring, this space was all about new growth and blossoms. By late summer, we were walking through heat, fullness, and the slow surrender of plants that had given their all. Now, in late fall, the garden looks thinner above ground, but that just means more light reaches the soil, and a new season is moving in. In the backyard, the persimmon tree, which we followed from tiny green fruit in spring to heavy promise in late summer, is now almost bare. Most of the fruits have already been harvested or eaten, and the leaves have given us a beautiful show of gold and brown before letting go. Only a few are still clinging to the branches, as if they haven't quite received the memo that the season has changed. Our jujube tree, on the other hand, finished even earlier. We realized it was the first tree to shed all of its leaves this year, long before the others even started turning color. Close by, the grapevines are making their own quiet statement. A couple of months ago, they were all about green vigor and clusters of fruit. Now their leaves have turned into a complex patchwork of yellow, dark brown, and purplish tones. Many have already fallen, leaving a textured carpet under the branches. Around this area, several other deciduous trees are clearly in fall mode. The pomegranate's leaves are turning yellow and beginning to fall, joining leaves from the grapevines and from the nectarine apricot tree, which are also dropping steadily. We intentionally keep some pomegranate fruits hanging on the branches, just to enjoy the beauty of their bright red color shining in the sun. Scientifically speaking, as the days shorten and temperatures cool, deciduous trees form an abscission layer at the base of each leaf stalk, cutting off water and nutrient flow and eventually letting the leaf go. In practical gardening terms, it means more sun reaches the ground, which is exactly what our winter vegetables need. As the canopy opens up, light falls directly onto the beds, where our cool season crops are starting to grow. Our fig tree in the front yard, which leans toward the small gate on the northern side, is going through the same shift. Its leaves turned yellow in waves, and now most of them are down, with just a few still hanging on like little paper lanterns. Further outward, the Chinese mahogany, sometimes called the onion tree, is in a similar condition. It has already dropped most of its leaves and will likely be bare in a few days. A little distance away, the mulberry is in mid-transformation. Some leaves have already fallen, while others are turning color and clearly preparing to let go. Together with the fig and the other deciduous trees, they mark the front yard as a place in between seasons, not fully green, not fully bare, but definitely on its way. Near the front, we have just finished our biggest apple harvest ever, more than 100 apples from the tree. While the fruit is gone, the leaves are still green and hanging on. We've discovered that, in our garden at least, the apple is one of the last deciduous trees to shed its leaves. The branches probably won't be fully bare until sometime early next year. A few steps away, the loquat is already looking forward. It is pushing out new flower clusters, inviting every local bee in the neighborhood to visit. While some trees are going to sleep, the loquat is beginning its flowering season, marking the start of a new cycle right inside late fall. The other evergreen on the curb is our Longan, Dragon Eye, which has finished its part for the year. We harvested all the fruits, and now the tree is putting its energy into growth rather than production. New branches are stretching out, and young leaves are emerging in that soft purplish color that will harden into green. It looks strong and steady, like it knows exactly what it's doing. Next to it stands our ever-growing, ever-producing papaya. It keeps getting taller while carrying a ring of large fruits around its swelling trunk. These green fruits have become a kitchen staple for us, an all-season food that quietly anchors many of our meals. Also in the front yard, our moringa trees, which were in their exuberant prime in late summer, have clearly slowed down. Growth has reduced, but they haven't stopped. New leaves still appear, and some flowers are still hanging from the branches, along with dangling mature bean pods. The kumquat tree next to them is telling a different story. Its leaves are evergreen, staying glossy and green, while its fruits are quietly swelling in size. Shades of orange are showing on their skins like a soft watercolor wash. In late spring and late summer, this tree was just a green presence in the background. Now, in late fall, it is finally stepping into the spotlight. Under the pergola, not far from it, we have a pleasant surprise from our experimental gourd squash. We sowed seeds in early August, fairly late in the season, and we were not sure at all that they would have time to fruit before the weather cooled down. However, thanks to the warm fall, we harvested 2 beautiful gourds at the same time we picked our big Thai pumpkin. Now we are watching a couple more fruits. Some are maybe 2 weeks away from being ready. Others are still actively growing. The flavor of the first 2 was wonderful, so we've decided to plant earlier next year and treat this gourd as one of the staple crops in our garden. Coming back to the northern side of our house, the avocado, which didn't reward us with many fruits this year, probably fewer than 10, is quietly getting ready for the future. The branches are dotted with tiny new flower buds. If conditions are right, those buds will open soon, and maybe next year will be its year to shine. Next to it, our inherited lemon tree is in its prime time, with fruits already turning into a welcoming, shining yellow, hanging right above us when we walk past. We have to be a little careful and a little grateful. Circling back to our backyard, a couple of other trees are also in their peak season right now. The mandarin is heavy with fruit, turning bright and fragrant, ready for easy picking and eating. It might be the current star of the garden. It doesn't stand alone though. The star fruit tree is also still holding many fruits, giving us another bright, juicy harvest before true winter arrives. A special note goes to the chayote vine on the southern fence, another interesting character this year. We planted it late last year, and it has grown all through spring and summer, mostly as a source of tender shoots for stir-fries and soups. Once fall began, it surprised us with actual fruits, pale green chayotes that taste noticeably better than the ones from the store. Now we are learning to balance our greed for tender shoots with our curiosity about how many fruits we can get. And because chayote is a perennial in mild climates, we are very interested to see how it will handle the coldest nights of a Los Angeles winter. On the ground, this was also a big year for sweet potatoes, especially in the front yard. We dug up a generous harvest, and now the ground that was once covered in vines is clear again, waiting for winter vegetables. In both the front and backyard, beds that held summer crops are turning over to cool season plantings. And then there are the winter vegetables already stepping onto the stage. In the planters facing south, the bok choy and lettuce we planted in October are already big enough to eat. We have been harvesting them every day for over a week, and they are still growing into their season, loving the cool air and softer light. So here we are in late fall, in a garden that looks thinner in the canopy, but richer in small, quiet details. Some things are ending, some are resting, and some are just beginning. I'm curious, how does late fall look in your garden or your neighborhood? Are you watching leaves fall, fruits ripen, or winter greens come up? I'd love to hear what this season looks like where you are. Until next time, happy gardening.